Ayo, what up? It's your boy. So for those of you who don't know, I am half Japanese. Although I was born and raised in Australia, technically speaking, my first language is actually Japanese. And so I've kind of been brought up and raised in this environment where English and Japanese are kind of like my first languages. And one interesting thing that I have very quickly noticed when growing up with two different languages is that there are a lot of course, similarities between languages, but there are obvious differences. And I think there is a real stark difference, especially between English and Japanese. That might be a big reason if you're, say, for example, an English speaker, why you might find the concept of a lot of Japanese phrasing and vocab and language structure to be rather unfamiliar, to be quite difficult to wrap your head around. So I figured since Japan eventually is going to have to open up their borders, when it does inevitably happen, otherwise the economy is just going to crash and burn and you won't hear from me ever again, I figured your boy would come in to the rescue and give you 5 Japanese words I wish existed in English. But before we jump into the list, let me tell you guys about the sponsor for this video. Take it away. Yo, what up? It's Joey. Before we begin, let me tell you about the sponsor of this video, World of Warships. World of Warships is a free-to-play game and available for PC with its top-notch new graphics. The more than 40 unique maps with dynamic weather that comprise World of Warships have just been updated with stunning new water effects and textures that make the game seas virtually indistinguishable from the real deal. Oh my god. Can I take a bath in it, please? Now, for all of you ship otakus out there are multiple ships that you can choose from. I'm talking battleships, I'm talking destroyers, I'm talking aircraft carriers, I'm talking cruisers. Hell, if the depths call to you, then you can even get in a gosh darn submarine, my boys. Plus, World of Warships is constantly updating itself with brand new content every single month. And World of Warships goes beyond just a game. It is a real museum for warship lovers. Oh, and also, did I mention that this game is also available on console? That's right, console gamers rise up. Plus, for you boys supporting the channel right here, right now, if you go in-game and use the coupon code on screen right now, you can get yourself a huge starter pack of fresh rewards. So much so that I can't even say all of them in the 60-second limit I've been given. Here you go, just check it out for yourself. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, then make sure to check out World of Warships by clicking the link down in the description below, and thank you to World of Warships for sponsoring today's video. Now, look, I totally understand there are definitely more than 5 Japanese words that can't quite be translated or don't quite exist in the English vocab, and I am definitely not the first, nor will I ever be the last person to make a video like this. But a lot of the lists from what I saw in terms of 5 Japanese words that don't exist in English, a lot of them are words that you wouldn't really use in everyday life. Words like kogarashi and komorebi and ikigai, and it's just, you know, a lot of the very pretty words that have a lot of deep meaning to it and can only really be explained in English using full sentences rather than a single word like in Japanese. Yes, there are many words like that. Japanese is very much an artistic, very beautiful, picturesque language, but you're not going to be walking around saying words like that in day-to-day life. So I decided I would kind of take all of these lists that exist online and just kind of squeeze it into 5 words that I think you should definitely learn when learning Japanese, because not only are these words impossible or very difficult to translate into English, but also very useful words to use when talking to a Japanese person, and you will definitely be using them more than once. If you just know these 5 Japanese words and you can master them in conversations, then you will immediately sound at least 30% more Japanese than before. That is not an exact number, that is just a guesstimate, but bottom line, you're going to be a lot more Nihongo Jozu just by knowing these 5 words. But yeah, without further ado, let's just jump in to the list. My first word is Mendokusai, which is a word that you will use a lot, especially when you are an adult living in Japan. The direct translation for Mendokusai is kind of similar to can't be fucked. I don't want to do this particular chore because I don't feel like it. That chore is Mendokusai. Again, this is a really difficult word to translate, hence why it is in a video like this. We all have that feeling of like, do I have to do this thing now? Do I really? I just cannot be bothered to do it. It's so mendokusai. But mendokusai can also mean a little bit more than just can't be bothered or can't be asked. It also kind of has this idea of like something being a little bit annoying, something being a little bit inconvenient, just something basically that you don't want to bother with whatsoever. Just get it out of my face. I don't want to deal with it. I don't have strong opinions about it. I just cannot be bothered. I can't be fucked. Mendokusai. And for you advanced Japanese users out there, you can use the more colloquial way of shortening a word like mendokusai by just saying mendoi, which is basically just taking mendokusai and just making it a little bit shorter so that it fits into the flow of the conversation a little bit more. Either way, this is a word that I personally have used many times. Every time I have homework to do from school and I can't be fucked to do it, that shit's mendokusai, bro. The second word that is a little less negative is Yoroshiku. Now, this is probably a word that you've definitely heard of, or at least seen in your Japanese textbook. You've heard if you've watched any kind of Japanese medium whatsoever. This is very much like next to arigato. This is probably the next most common real Japanese phrase that you hear. But this is one of those words that you hear a lot, but then if you ask me to translate what it means into English, you kind of stump me there. Because yoroshiku can mean all sorts of different things. And it's always interesting when, for example, I'm watching an anime series and I see the English sub for it. I swear, every time the word yoroshiku, or the more longer formal version, yoroshiku onegaishimasu, appears in an anime, like a character says it to another character, for example, I swear, every time the English sub of that word, or the English translation of that word, is always slightly different. There isn't like a unified English phrase that can be used to properly translate a word like yoroshiku, because it just holds so many different meanings depending on the context. If I were to really boil it down, I would say that the easiest way to translate something like yoroshiku is basically something along the lines of thank you very much, or I appreciate it. A little bit different to arigato though. Arigato is very much like an appreciation that has already happened, or an appreciation of something that is about to happen. Whereas yoroshiku is more so like you're doing something for me, and so I am thanking you for that before or after the matter of the fact. I say that, but I feel while arigato can be used before something good happens to you or after something good happens to you, I feel yoroshiku is definitely more of a future tense of like, you know, thank you for the thing that you are about to do for me. In a lot of ways, say for example, if you start a new job, right, one of the first things you would say to all of your coworkers is yoroshiku or yoroshiku onegaishimasu. In that context, it basically means thank you for taking care of me in advance. Thank you for welcoming me into this space, and I look forward to working with you all. Basically, it's just every kind of appreciative thing just crammed into one Japanese word, and so it's very handy. And you don't even have to use this word in a, you know, business sense or in like a work environment or a school environment or anything like that. You can use it in casual conversation as well. Say for example, if I want my friend to go and get me something from the store and he's like, all right, yeah, I'll go get it, then I can be like, okay, thanks, yoroshiku, as in like I'm leaving it up to you to do that thing that will make me appreciate what you are about to do. It's a real difficult word to translate, obviously, but it's also a really useful word. And if you can master this word, again, it will get you just a lot of cred, especially amongst Japanese people, because it's just one thing that's nice to say to people, you know, to be like, that thing you're about to do for me, I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate the fact that you are doing this for me. The third word is kind of in a similar vein, Otsukare. Now, this is something that you would say after everything has finished. The direct translation for Otsukare, or the kanji for Otsukare, means tired. It doesn't necessarily mean I am tired, but it's more so saying, yo, good job on that thing. I know you're tired, and I know that thing you just did was very tiring, but I appreciate you, bro, that you went through that shit, and rest up. So say, for example, this is a word that I would use, say, if I wanted someone who is working for me to do a certain thing, they do that thing, and then they tell me, hey, I just finished doing that thing. Then I would go, Otsukare, good job. Thanks for doing that thing. I know it might have been a little bit tiring, So rest up, dude. You did a great job. And this is also obviously used in a lot of work environments as well. This is usually the word, or rather the more formal version of this word, which is Otsukare-sama. It would be a word that is used, say for example, after you leave the office. After a long, hard day of work, after a long, hard day of your duties, you say Otsukare-sama to everyone, being like, hey, I know we're all tired. I know we all just got through that whole day of work, but hey, we fucking did it. So rest up, boys. Peace out. It's a really, really neat, useful word that, again, gets you a lot of cred amongst Japanese people because, like, oh, he's being really considerate towards me. And I feel that's a thing, right? It's like Japan mostly, and Japanese communities and societies very much work around this idea of appreciation, around gratitude towards other people rather than to yourself. And I think that's a real trait amongst like collectivist societies like Japan, for example. It's not so much all about me, it's about how I feel towards everybody else. And if everybody else is good, then I'm good as well. So I want to be appreciated for the hard work that I did. So what I do to start that off is I appreciate everybody else around me. And otsukare is a real good, useful term that you will definitely use when going into your adulthood. The fourth word is something that's a little bit different and is a word that I didn't really see in a lot of these lists, but I think is very much a Japanese specific word. And that is Arigata meiwaku. The direct translation for Arigata meiwaku, it's split into two different words. Arigata being coming from the term arigato, as in like thankful, and meiwaku basically meaning nuisance. Essentially, it's this idea of being grateful, but it also being a nuisance. So it's basically a word that's like thanks, but no thanks. Where it's like someone is trying to do something for you, someone is trying to do something appreciative for you, but you don't want to shut that person down because they're just trying to be nice. But inside you're thinking, bro, no, that's fucking annoying. Don't do that. You're being a nuisance. I know everybody has been in a situation like that where they're just like, thanks, but yeah, not right now, bro. I don't really need that right now. I know you're trying to be appreciative towards me, but you're actually just being you're being a little bit of a nuisance. It's not as good of a thing as you're thinking it is. So please stop for both of our sakes. And obviously, Japanese people, like every other race in the world, goes through situations like this, so much so, supposedly, that we've just come up with a term for it. We've come up with a phrase for that particular type of situation. And honestly, the first time I heard about this word and the first time I learned about this word, I immediately fell in love with it because I was like, how is it that the Japanese have figured out the perfect word, the perfect phrase to perfectly describe this predicament that I am in right now? And look, this, unlike the first three words, is not really a word that you should be saying out loud, especially to the person that is trying to do something for you. You'll look like a bit of an asshole if you're like, sorry, that's a bit arigata meiwaku. Kind of like going up to someone and being like, thanks, but you're being a real fucking annoying little shit right now. So yeah, maybe don't say this word in front of the person or during the time that a situation like that is happening, but maybe after the matter of the fact, you can be like, bro, I mean, he tried to help me out, but it was kind of arigata meiwaku. You feel me, dog? Really funny word, and the Japanese have just fucking nailed that. And the fifth and final word, which is probably the most common phrase you will ever hear while living in Japan, while talking to Japanese people, in any fucking situation ever, is Domo. Now, this is a word that is just filled with so many different meanings. It's really, really difficult to translate because Domo can mean hello. It can mean goodbye. It can mean I'm sorry, and it can mean thank you, and it can mean a whole other bunch of things. In fact, I remember seeing this really funny video online of some Japanese person who's like, I can create an entire sentence and scenario just by using the word domo. The scenario is you're on a phone to a client and you're basically saying, hello? Oh, I'm sorry for what happened. Thank you very much. Goodbye. And it basically goes, domo, 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 domo. And I thought that was fucking hilarious because it's true. Like you can, that is actually something that you could do in reality. Like you could technically have a phone call situation like that, and it would make perfect sense. Because again, the word domo is just so fluid when it comes to its meaning that you can use it for really anything. It's all about the cadence of which you say it in and the emotion which you put behind it. It's kind of like the word thanks, where, you know, you could be really appreciative of someone, like, thanks. But you could also put a little bit of a snarky tone behind it, being like, thanks. Same word, two totally different meanings that come out of that. And for you cunning linguists out there, you can even use the word domo in front of a sentence to further accentuate whatever it is you're saying after the word domo. So say, for example, I mentioned that domo can mean thank you, like arigato in Japanese. But guess what? You can put domo in front of arigato and it become domo arigato, which basically means thank you, like serious, like super fucking like ultra instinct thank you. So yeah, this is definitely like the ditto of Japanese words. It can really just transform into anything if you give it enough context and you put it in the right context. Super useful word to know in Japanese, because you'll be using that shit fucking everywhere. But yeah, there you go. Those were, in my opinion, 5 Japanese words I wish existed in English just because of how useful they are. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and hopefully you'll learn something new. But hey, thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to smack my face right there to subscribe to the channel. Let's keep making that big channel number go bigger. And over here next to my head is a couple more videos you can check out if you enjoyed this one as well. And hit your boy up on his socials, Twitter, Instagram. Links are in the description down below. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.